Welcome to Deep Dive with Esther. So glad you're with us today. I have the honor to connect with incredible people, and one of those incredible people are here today. She is on my shirt, where? Right here. Becca Balint. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Let me tell you, so, of course I looked you up, even though we talked about this.
Yeah.
But you are an educator. You taught middle school, which I commend you for. I did third grade, and I said absolutely not. But you did it for 14 years, which I love. You're an activist, a state senator who became the first woman and first openly gay person to serve as president pro tem in the Vermont State Senate. And now you are running for Congress.
Yes.
All that to say, you are a powerhouse.
Thank you. As are you.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so delighted to be here. Yeah.
So thank you again for being here. We met because Senator Ruth Hardy invited a group of women to her class so we can be on a panel together. And through that experience, we connected deeply.
We did, instantly.
As moms, we're trying to change the world and connecting with students. And of course, we connected over Brene Brown's work.
We did. About authenticity,
Yes.
vulnerability, and,
Yes.
and being authentic leaders.
Yes. Which is hard to do and not the norm.
Yeah, it is hard. But for me, it's the only way. It's the only way.
Yeah. And I see it too, because even in those moments where we first met, I felt seen and heard by you through your presence. So thank you. You're doing it. And of course, another way we got to interact, and we'll talk about this, is because I'm a recent Emerge Vermont grad, and the class had the honor of having you as our trainer. How was that experience for you?
I loved it. Between when I had my teaching career and when I decided to run for office, I went and got trained as a coach and learned how to ask the right questions, and really worked hard on developing an authentic leadership workshop that I could take to groups like Emerge and other groups around the state. And it is a joy to get people to think about leadership in a different way, because I think the old models aren't serving us.
No.
And so I've been working really hard at trying to change those models and get folks to see that there is another way to do politics, there's another way to do leadership, whether you're in the political sphere or working at a nonprofit or even within an organization, that it does not have to be a top-down kind of organizational structure, and that it has to start with being seen, right? And seeing others for who they really are. And I think that scares people, which I don't fully understand, because what could be more comfortable than having someone, really honor who you are, in an organization or in a political office. And so I'm still trying to unpack all that. I think there's a lot of shame that people carry around. And when we give people more permission to be themselves and to not have to play the role of perfection, you get better leaders that way. You get better outcomes. So it's also something that I see in you. Like, you also approach your work with authenticity and that sense of, I don't have all the answers, but I'm maybe here to listen deeply, and together we're going to figure out the path forward.
It's not the norm, but like you said, it's the only way. It's the only way. And through that class, I learned of one of the women who inspire you. And I'm ashamed to say I didn't know about this individual until you taught the class. This is where it's revolutionary for me.
I love this.
You changed my life because you introduced me to someone my history books didn't tell me about.
Exactly. and it was like one of my biggest inspirations, one of my biggest political inspirations. We're going to tell them who we're talking
Yes, who are we talking about?
We're talking about Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah.
Shirley Chisholm, unbossed, unbought. She was Bernie before Bernie even knew what it meant to be unbossed and unbought. And she was a truth teller.
Mm-hmm.
She was so fully in her power as a woman, as a black woman, as an immigrant. Mm-hmm. When she burst on the scene, she was her authentic self all the time. And when I feel low in the legislature, when I'm having a rough day, I go back and I watch videos of her speaking, because I remember, the way forward is to always be centered in who you are. And so the first black woman to serve as a major party candidate for the presidency.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And in 1972.
Exactly.
I think that was the kicker for me.
Yeah. And you're like, how did I not know this? Right?
Yeah.
How did you not know that? Because we know what stories get told.
Yes.
Right? And I remember when I first learned about her, I just thought, even at that age, I thought, this was a brave, courageous woman.
Yes.
So brave.
Yes.
No role models for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a constituent a few weeks ago send me a vintage Shirley Chisholm bumper sticker from when she ran.
Wow.
I opened it up and I just started crying. It just like touched that history.
Yeah.
So tell me more about what you see in her and what that was like for you to learn about her.
It was so empowering. It was so empowering because after our class, I started watching the videos of her speeches and even learning that at one point she knew she wasn't going to win the presidency.
Yeah.
But she did it anyway.
Yeah.
I think that what blows my mind and what pushes me forward in wanting to be a part of that. Like, it's not about the results, but the impact.
Exactly.
And
she inspired so many people. So many people.
And still the legacy.
Yeah.
I literally learned about her this year, and she's been dead since 2005.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so
I had an interesting thing happen a few weeks ago. So as we talked about, I'm running for Congress, and one of the other candidates and I, in one of, I can't remember if it was a debate or a forum, we were asked, who are your biggest political inspirations? And both Shanae Chase Clifford and I, we both said Shirley Chisholm. And I instantly felt a connection to her, even though we're running against each other, but I felt like, like we have a connection now, that we both see the power of this woman. And I'm on a mission that everybody in Vermont knows who she is. And so I know that you are going to be right there with me.
Yes.
Yeah. But she was ahead of her time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a trailblazer.
Oh my God,
yeah. In a way that you are. I see that in you. And
that's a big statement.
I do. I do. And that's why when I learned really that you were running for U.S. Congress, I said, absolutely. Absolutely. You are who I want to represent us.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that is so important, I think, in this race is about when you look at the policies that we're all running on, right? There are lots of similarities, but I think it's going to come down to sort of who we are in the world.
Yes.
Do you see that?
I do. And that's why I want you. I know. And okay, so please walk us through, if you don't mind, your decision to run for Congress, because that's a huge step.
Yeah.
I wonder did you ever envision yourself coming to a place where you would ever want to run and put yourself out there, starting as a teacher, and now to see yourself
Yeah.
is incredible. But
It
tell
is,
us.
and I actually said something similar last night that I never really imagined that I could do this. It
Yeah.
was a deep hope of mine to be able to run someday for political office. But when I was growing up, there really were no out gay politicians, and I didn't have a lot of women, political role models. And my family was not a political family. I mean, we voted, and that was really important, and we understood the importance of being civically engaged, but nobody ever run for office on either side of the family. And I saw videos of when I was in high school, Shirley Chisholm and others, Bella Abzug and Barbara Jordan, another one. You should do a deep dive on Barbara Jordan.
I will.
Okay. And I realized, oh, like that's really exciting to me. And so that was back when I was, 16, 17. And was really excited about that possibility, and then just ran, head first into sort of the cement wall of, well, that's not going to happen in your lifetime. Like, it was there's a lot of hateful rhetoric at that time around gay people, and I just didn't think it was going to happen. And I was interviewed for a newspaper article when I won the citizenship award in my home state, and they came to interview me. They said, so, the reporter said, what do you think you're going to do with your life? And I said, well, I want to teach, which I did. I want to write, which I also did. I said, I hope someday to run for office. And I said, no matter what I choose to do, I want to improve people's lives.
Yeah.
And I know this because my mom saves every scrap of any newspaper I ever appeared in. And so when I first ran for Senate, she pulled it out and she said, how did you know? Like, you've done all of these things. But I didn't run for office until I was in my 40s. And the world had changed, and I had a big champion in my wife who said, you don't want to look back on your life and not do the thing that you were called to do. And at that point, my kids were really little,
Yes,
All right,
I do.
I had a preschooler and a kindergartner, and I said, I can't run for office now. It's not a good time.
Yeah.
And she said, it's never going to be a good time. It's never going to be the right time. It's never going to be a good time, because these kids will always be our kids, and they're always going to need us. And so she said, you should just run, because you probably won't win first time out anyway. Just get your name out there. And then I ended up winning a hotly contested primary for state senate, and so was like completely overwhelmed and proud of serving in that way. And when I became majority leader and was able to have some really strong impact on really important legislation, people started talking to me about, well, are you going to run for governor, or for lieutenant governor, secretary of state, and I, even after my first term, because we have not had a lot of women running statewide, so there was like sort of what I call a pent up demand. But I would say to people, I don't think I'm ready for that. I have to learn more. I need to understand how government works more. I need to establish a record, and also I need to understand, how you actually get policy moved, right? And then I didn't actually think Senator Leahy was going to step down. I thought he might still have some more work that he wanted to do in the Senate. And so when he announced it, it crystallized for me really, really quickly that this is the fight that I want to be in, because I was sworn in as President Pro Tem on the day of the insurrection. And sitting in my office looking at the images on my computer screen, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was our country. And in that moment I thought, we're heading towards authoritarianism. We're heading towards really dangerous impulses here. And so it became clear to me that if I was going to run for the next, next step for for me to take in really doing the work for Vermonters, I felt like had to be in this position because we have a democracy to defend. That's like, for me, the Republic is literally in danger right now. And so I want to pass all of those democratic, planks in our platform around minimum wage increases and Medicare for all and all of those things I deeply care about and have worked on here. None of that is going to matter if we don't have a democracy. And so I feel like it's the fight of our lives right now. And I'm so focused and feel like this is the work that we all now are called to do right now. So
wow,
we'll see. I'm going down swinging.
I'm
going down swinging.
I love it. And just even hearing about the support you have at home, your wife sounds incredible.
She is.
To say, hey, there is no good time.
Yeah.
The kids will always be there.
Yeah.
And for you to win a highly contested race, and for you to seek wisdom, because that's what I hear. When you're like, I need to understand how policy moves. How do we get things forward?
Yeah.
And then to know that everyone voted for you, so you can be the president pro tem. So you know how to get folks together, get to the table, listen, hear, where they saw you as a leader. Your colleagues saw you as a leader. Sounds like you're ready to me. Sounds like you're ready. You're ready. You're ready.
It does mean a lot to me that in the end I had the support of conservatives, folks who are more moderate and folks who are farther to the left, that people know me as someone who does work in good faith, that I have a strong work ethic, I also have integrity, and in that I will work on a project with anyone who's working with me in good faith.
Yeah.
Because Esther, we got to stop turning away from each other.
Yes.
We really, really do.
Yes.
And I'm hearing that a lot as I travel around the state. Even, hardcore Democratic voters are quite concerned about the level of vitriol right now between whether it's Democrats and Republicans or even just community members. The way that people are showing up right now is not who we want to be. But we need those models about how to do it differently, right?
Yeah.
And you are one of those models too here, because I know you share those ideals, which is no, we're gonna all try to see the best in each other, and not in a naive way. Right? Not in a naive way, but like, let's roll up our sleeves and get some work done together, because that's the way we've done it in Vermont for hundreds of years.
Yes.
And we can still do that, but we have to be courageous enough to have those conversations that are sometimes uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How does it show up here in Middlebury with the select board? Do you feel like you have do you feel like it's still a board that is functioning well with each other, and do people feel heard within the community? I know that's like it's a large question, but from where you sit?
I think the board, yes. So far, we're learning, because we have Andy Hooper, who is new, and he is a part of our board. So we're learning our dynamics, learning each other, getting to know each other. So it's been great in that way, and we respect each other. So I feel like, hey, when we each speak up, we're all heard. I have to say, Brian, he leads us well. Brian Carpenter, he leads us well, and so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm
That's
with
great.
a great supportive board.
Yeah.
Especially being a newbie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important.
It's pretty intimidating, because for me, like, I was high school class president.
Yeah, baby.
But I was too. Listen, Lawrence is named Lawrence with law in it, because I was thinking about law school at that time. But I thought it was too late for me. Right?
I totally know that. I understand that.
I thought, I got kids.
Yep.
There's not space. I didn't.
Yes.
I actually had my master's in teaching. Like, that was the road I was going down.
Yeah.
And come to Vermont, And it's like, no, there's opportunity here. And it was a friend of mine who was like, hey, would you be interested in running for select board? I was like, first of all, what is the select board? I'm sorry. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. What does that mean? And
you're like, I don't want to commit because I don't know what it is.
But it has been the best experience.
And so what shifted for you, Esther, because I know those feelings of, it's too late for me.
Yeah.
I absolutely know that is exactly how I felt in my late 30s and early 40s, that like my life had taken me in other directions and it was just too late for me.
Yeah.
So what got you thinking that maybe it wasn't?
Yeah, honestly, it was my divorce being finalized. It was November 2020. And, we're in the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had to mail in our ballots.
Yeah.
And my divorce was just finalized. I was feeling brand new, feel like I gotta conquer the world. And I wrote my name on the ballot.
You're like, seems like a good idea at the time.
Honestly, if we're just gonna manifest anything in our lives, this is the time. So I just wrote my name and just like, I'm gonna put it out there and see what comes.
Yeah.
And actually that action is how my friend was like, she was like, Esther, it was funny. Somebody wrote you in the ballot. I did not tell her it was me. But that's how she like tapped me on the shoulder and said, actually that's not a bad idea. Esther, are you interested in the select board? And I was like, oh, okay. And it started a journey of me discovering myself, my voice, building my confidence, and seeing how our presence makes a difference at the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes a difference.
Conversations are different.
Yes. And so why not? Yeah. Why not enter into the fight, even though it's hard? Yeah. But it's such important work. And I am so grateful you said yes to the call to going and representing us. I manifest things, y'all.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm loving. I want to be manifested.
Yeah, so I'm like,
I want it. Yeah.
Come on, universe. But all that to say is you said yes to the call because it's hard.
Oh my gosh,
it's so hard.
Yes, the night before our launch.
Yep.
I was filled with so much self-doubt.
Yeah. Ooh.
So much. And, I kept going back to my own training as a leadership coach, which is I was just trying to use my own words on myself, which is, where's the evidence in your life that you can't do this? Where is the evidence? Point to the evidence that you can't do this. And I just kept saying that to myself over and over because so many times I thought, well, who am I to do this?
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that finally convinced me was realizing it was going to be this incredible journey no matter what.
Yes.
That I was going to meet so many people.
Yes.
I was going to get to know my own community and the state in such, deeper, different ways. And I loved serving Vermont as senator and as president of the Senate. And so when I tapped into that part of me that was the I love people part, that how could it be the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Right? Win or lose, I was going to have a much bigger network of people that I knew, and that was really exciting for me. And it is hard. Yeah. It's hard to be out there and exposed. Yeah. But it's also really wonderful.
Yes.
It really is. Yes. We were doing an event in Winooski the other day, and it was just so fun to just walk from cluster to cluster, and talk to people about what's exciting them and what's worrying them, and try to build that common cause. Yeah. I love that.
And we see that and we feel that because you love people.
I really do.
And when I first met you, I felt it. I still feel it to this day. I'm so proud to endorse you and
Thank you.
See you go through. So excited for you and for all that is to come.
Thank you.
I'm glad I get a front row seat.
And
I'm cheering you on in the front.
I'm so grateful for your belief in me. because I think we are like-minded souls.
Yeah.
And so that means the world to me.
Well, Becca, thank you so much for taking a deep dive with Esther.
Yes.
So excited for where life is going to take you.
Yeah.
And just know I'm cheering you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So lovely to chat with you.
Always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.